I'm your host, Nozugo, and I'm so happy once again to be joined by you to just worship God together, glorify the Lord together, and just to thank Him for, just and be encouraged by the works of His hands, So we thank God. We continue to say Jesus is King, Jesus is Lord, our Jehovah Rapha. Today is a beautiful, beautiful testimony, and we'll get into it. I also just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, family, for our growing family. Thank you for the likes. We thank you for the subscriptions. We thank you for the shares. We thank you for the comment section. Thank you so much for engaging us. We love to engage. We love to, grow and just watch and worship God together, So today's one of those again, like I mentioned, and we are joined by the beautiful, the majestic, the incredible Mom Defo. She will introduce herself. She told me how they call her, and I'm like, no, you are too young for that. By the way, this lady has looked the same way for the past 20 years. She hasn't changed a single bit. So she must also tell us her tips and tricks of good looking face, okay? But we are joined by the amazing Rebecca Defo. Hey, ma'am.
Hi, Nazu.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. Like a papa.
I know.
Thank you so much for joining us on Sweet Ears. We're so excited. Mm-hmm. I know the challenges of even getting to this moment.
Yeah.
So we thank God that we are finally here, and we are going to share, with the believers, to encourage the believers, to encourage their faith. Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Testimonies are good. They grow our faith, Yeah.
Okay, let's get right into it.
Yes. Greetings to you once again and the viewers at home. My name is Rebecca Tefu. I'm a second-born child. I'm married to one husband. And I have 3 beautiful kids. 2 boys and a girl. Yes, I'm grateful for the invitation, and I'm grateful that I'm here safe, and
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ma. So tell us about yourself, upbringing, just briefly. Upbringing, career field, marriage, how did you meet your husband? Just briefly, nothing hectic. Like you've already mentioned, you are a second-born.
Yes, I am a second-born. Well, childhood was just normal, like any other child who grows in a warm family. Even though there was no father, we grew up, my mother was the main, adult in the home. Yes, I have a brother and I have a younger sister. Yeah. So, I think I met the Lord in high school when I was about 16 years doing grade 10, and ever since I've been on this journey for the Lord, and so far how I met my husband, it's a long story, a beautiful one, yes, but we met in Pretoria at some point. I had things when I was praying, and then I followed the voice, and I was in Pretoria, and when I saw him, I knew he's the one.
Really?
Yes, and I remember looking at his feet from behind, and I was like, I wish my children could have a feet like this man, So, that was before I could even say hi or say any word to him, So, that's how, in short, there's a Lord behind, but in short, that's how I knew he's the one when I saw him for the first time. And then we've been married for, it's 15 years this year.
Wow.
Yes.
When I met you, you were in your first year of marriage.
First? No.
It wasn't first?
No.
Really?
I think I was about 4 years.
Are you serious?
4 years in marriage.
You guys looked like kids. Are you serious? Yeah. But you guys also look exactly the same. You're just the same.
It's all in the genes.
Yeah, you look the same. You carry the same. You just are the same. But anyway, And then your marriage. How is marriage? How's motherhood?
Yes, I think that's a better question. Because marriage,
Can be tricky.
it's complex, you know. Yeah, but motherhood is it's a beautiful journey of, you know, learning to be I don't know how to put it, but learning to be someone else's role model, you know, playing a role of modeling, you know, a lot of things, you know, for especially for a boy child. It's a beautiful thing, because when you see them grow, it's like, yeah, it puts you in that corner to continue to want to explore, you know,
pour in.
Yeah, to give more than you already know and have, you know. So it's a nice, beautiful journey.
And how's your walk with God? How are you finding? Because I guess sometimes we get so comfortable. Sometimes we are so used to being Christians.
Yeah.
And you know, we may just not want to pour in, or sometimes we relax. Man, how are you finding? How are you in this state that you're in now?
I think it depends, you know, as to on what level are you asking, because if we are to talk about ministry, it's totally a different answer.
Question, yeah.
If you are to talk about the role of motherhood on a believer's level, you know, it has its own challenges. Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No. I hear you, Mami. I hear you.
Sister.
I do hear you, and I wanted to just say, Jorge, how has not having a father impacted the way you viewed relationships? Did it impact you, or because your mom was such a strong woman, you didn't quite feel that void?
Well, I think when I met my husband, he usually says that I was an anti-marriage.
Okay.
I was not aware of that side of me, or that aspect of my perception in life. But I think I didn't think of myself. I didn't see myself as someone who qualifies to be married. Marriage was non-existent in my world. You know, it was just something far from me. And even how I would structure my dreams, I would picture myself having a nice, beautiful house, 2 little girls that are adopted, you know. It was never a dream. It was never a thing in my thinking, you know. Hence, I think the Lord had to, and part of me, I was a bit tomboyish when I grew up. So I think the Lord had to snatch me out of that, you know, and hence there's so much of a prophetic emphasis in how I met with my husband, because, yeah, I didn't have a picture.
Just tell us about that. Tell us about that. It's okay. Let's just hear it. I'm so interested. I'm curious.
Marriage, it's something, or rather a family life, it's something that you grow up seeing. It's painted, it structures your perception in life. But for me, it was like a mother and, you know, siblings, and that's it. And so it was not something that was on my face, even though I saw it from a distance, but it didn't exist in my thinking, you know. So hence I couldn't even associate myself with it, you know. So yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
No, see.
I want to know. I feel like it ties in nicely, you know. It will give more understanding. I can read now you're saying, Hori, you thought you were just going to adopt.
Yeah.
So now you're not having that reality. So what is it? So then what happens? So you meet, okay, it's fine.
Okay.
The long and short of it is you meet, you see him, you know for sure this is going to be, you want a man, you want kids that have these legs and these feet.
You know, yeah. So how it happened, I was in grade 12, and there was this mother by the name Rebecca. She said it was towards the prelim examinations, yeah. So she said, can I have young people, grade 11 and 12, remain after church? I just want to say something brief to them. So we went after church, and she was like, okay, you guys must study. If you don't study, the Holy Spirit, you know, he won't be able to remind you something that you don't have stored in your brain. So after saying that, she said, and by the way, if you haven't yet started praying for your partner, you are late, my child. Yeah, I think I was offended by that because I believed...
Metric.
Yes, metric. I was offended in a sense that I believed that when God allows you to hear something, He's actually shaping you, or rather He's giving you something to pray about, you know. So the following day, Monday, I come back from school. Before I do anything, I knelt down. I was like, Mudimu, that woman, align her. Like she's... That was irrelevant. I felt like whatever she was saying, especially regarding marriage, it was just not necessary. So in a way, I'm to God. Oh, no, man, you must cause it sensitivity, you know. And little did I know that as I was just praying there, I didn't even know that I was a prophet at the time. The Lord, like literally, like I've never had such a voice even before, even after, you know. And I heard a voice telling me that I was praying concerning that, to say that now that you have allowed me to hear this, you know, I'm praying because I've heard it. And then as I was praying, the Lord told me, your husband is in Pretoria.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I just noted it. It was something I pushed at the back of my mind. Can't tell you, we will see about it, because I don't know anyone in Pretoria. I'm not planning to go to Pretoria. And when I got to
Where
Pretoria, I'm from Soweto, Middlelands.
No ways!
Yes, I'm from Middlelands. So I didn't get space the following year. I was applying here and there, and I didn't get space, and I had to take a gap year. That's when I came to Pretoria, because one of the pastors was actually looking for a nanny at 19. So I was like, okay, I'm going to grow spiritually being in that man's house. So I came with that intention of I'm going to grow spiritually, you know. And when I came, little did I know that I'll be staying in a home. It's an orphanage, because they didn't have a space to accommodate me in their house. So as I was in an orphanage, my husband was there for 3 weeks fasting or something like that. So he was facilitating morning devotions for the kids there as he was there. So first morning I saw him, I felt like, Lord, I know this guy, but I don't know from where. You know, but I've never seen him before. It was just a familiar experience of saying, I've seen this guy before, but I don't know from. So I'm busy saying, Holy Spirit, remind me, where do I know this guy from? You know, and yeah, it bothered me. And as I kept on, you know, I was curious. I wanted to know, who is this guy? You know, because even the feeling when he left the room after that morning devotion, that the feeling that I got to say, I've never desired to have children. I actually thought I don't have what it takes to make babies, you know. So as he walked out, I had that strong sensation to say, I want children, you know, who their feet must be similar to this guy's feet, you know. And it was just something that it was unexpected for me, and I kept on, you know, that using the door of prayer to want to understand why that, you know, up until other layers were added to that, and the Lord kept on communicating. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's how it happened. And for that year, I was in Pretoria, and though we were a bit distanced, we were just going to the same church. He kept on saying, we need to talk, but I felt like, nah, it's not necessary. Yeah.
After you're a tomboy.
Yeah, so
and you're just on fire for God. You're not interested in all these things.
Exactly.
Sure, that is so interesting. I love it.
Wow.
I love it. I love it so much. And then you get married.
Yeah, and then we decided to get married. Yeah. Out of, you know, it's interesting how it actually happened. We were both not working at the time, but somehow provision. You know, I always say that our wedding was one of those where it seemed like a prophetic class. It was just something else. We even sold videos of our wedding. Yes, we recorded our wedding and people wanted videos. We were selling them. You know, so that's how interesting it was. More like a prophetic wedding. Yeah. And
what happened? What were the people that were speaking prophesying?
The intensity of the presence of God, you know, and the prophetic level, and yeah, I think one of those elements, they were like making it unique somehow, and that's why people were interested in the recordings, and we decided to make business out of it, to sell them.
And the Lord gave you wisdom in that. Given you're both not working.
Yeah, and it was really helping here and there. Yeah, and fast forward, we had our firstborn. His name is Buso, and then the second one we actually didn't plan. He was prophesied, and we were not working again. It was just one of those seasons, and we were not looking forward to have a child. And yeah, the condom broke, and he was conceived.
Yeah.
That's our second born. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then
Your prophesied child.
yes, and then yeah, I think I was done at that point in time. I didn't want any more babies. I felt like women are doing much more. They having businesses, and what's the point of having so many kids? I thought 3 was so many kids.
Even 2 sometimes feels like
yeah, it feels too much. So I felt like I don't need the third one, and I don't have to push on having a baby girl. I was just enough. So I remember 2019. It was just one of those years. I was just going through a lot, particularly around the gift, the prophetic gift over my life, and I was feeling a lot of void, feeling like, yeah. So at some point in August, I was invited by one of the nurses. We always go for regular contraceptive appointments, so as I was there, she was just checking, have you ever done pap smear? I was like, pap smear? Like, no, like, she was like, yeah, your age, you must come. So, I didn't feel like there was a need for me to do that. So
we always feel like that.
Yeah, so, sorry. Yeah. So I made an appointment, they did it, and then apparently you wait for 6 weeks to get results. So around October, because I waited September, so in the middle of October I had to fetch my results. So unfortunately when I get there, I'm told you have cancer, and cancer. I thought I didn't hear correctly, so I was like, I wanted her to repeat what she was saying. I was like, cancer. I even said like, cancer. I was like, yeah, when things are like this. So the nurse is actually trying to give me an advice to say, yeah, she at some point I had to ask to say, now does it really mean I can't have any more babies? Not that I wanted to have a child, it was just out of interest to say, then what, So she said, yeah, no, we ranga bana bangata, like, and I was like, no, I do have 2 actually. And so he's like, yeah, that's enough, you don't have to make any more babies, because already this tells us that it's a risky situation, it's going to be a bloody situation, So I didn't believe my ears. It was just one of those things to say, like,
not you.
Yeah, it can't be. So but slowly, as it comes back, it was ringing in my mind and it was coming back. So I remember around November, I was doing exam invigilations for this blah blah university, and I was just standing there and I remembered, like I cried, like just in the middle of invigilations. That's when the reality of, okay, they said I have this thing. That's when it started to hit. It didn't hit immediately, but at that point in time, I was like, and I was like, Mujim. Like I didn't know what to do with myself, but I broke in tears, and I was like, like I'm gonna die. Like a lot of things were just coming to my mind. What's going to happen? And yeah, I managed to calm myself down, and yeah, it like after getting the results, I was told that I must change my dress code because wearing tight clothes wasn't ideal for people in that condition. So I don't have mommy looking clothes. Like all my clothes, they're so fitting, and it was confusing because I had to now try to alter my wardrobe. I looked like a Magogonyana would be in skirts, uncomfortable. I don't like skirts, and I tried, but I ended up no, I'm not gonna do this, because each time I was doing it, it felt like like prison, like, oh, no. And it really felt like a bit of a betrayal from the side of God, because I thought, sometimes we have this entitlement as Christians to think that when you lead a certain lifestyle, you are immune to certain things, or you are entitled to being treated or to living a life a certain way. So somehow there was that sense of entitlement of no, Mudimu, I lived my life for you. I was married pure. I kept myself, though acknowledging the grace was there to help me, but there was that blackmailing thing to say, and you couldn't do it for me. Why, Lord? Like, why? At my age, I was like 32 or so, and it was painful. It was, I isolated myself even more. Like I said, that prophetically speaking, I felt like my prophecies, they don't fit within the category of exhortation. That those three elements that we usually mention to say you exhort, you I'm forgetting them, but those elements, the confinements that we use when we speak about prophecy, to exhort, to
I've forgotten them.
So for me, my prophetic level, it was just something else, whereby I would be in a wedding, and I would know this, after 2 years they're going to divorce, and it will happen exactly like that. And I felt like I don't fit in that category, and as a result, I was hard on myself to say, why am I always picking up things that are not fitting within this standard that has been defined, and I felt the void of the gift, and now this. So I was isolated. I didn't tell my mom, by the way, because something that really struck me when I told my husband that I'm told that I have cancer. He was like, he asked me 2 questions. He said, is it transferable? He's securing his, trying to check, securing his things. And he said to me, and he's saying this walking away from me. He says, pray that thing away, and I was expecting, I'm sorry to hear, a hug, and we'll get through this together, and that's what I was expecting. But he was more like, is this transferable? And I'm thinking, this guy is thinking of himself, And after that, he was like, pray that thing away, it's a spirit. He actually used the word, pray that thing away, it's a spirit. A spirit. I'm in a situation, and you come with your religious what, and that's one of the things that really. And he said to me, don't scare people with this thing. I was it's unbelievable. At the time when you are in that situation, he said, don't tell people about this, because it's going to scare people away. Like, it's like already people, when they hear of this, they thinking you are gonna die, And I had to keep it to myself, because we were also waiting, because at the clinic they had told me that I must wait for the following August, so that they can check if it's progressing, And so I'm still within the time where they are observing if it's going to progress. But I can't share it with anyone, because it's going to scare people, And it was a very lonely moment. I remember that Christmas, I ate it alone. I celebrated it alone. I had to release them to say, you know what, not this time. I was just alone at home. I didn't want to be around people. It was just difficult, and a very lonely time, because you expect at least somebody to say, hey. But funny enough, 2015, someone prophesied me and said they are foreseeing me having cancer in the future. So even when I was told that, I was like, like this thing I was told 2015, and now it's coming. But the disappointment was, why so soon? Like, when you are told something, you expect it maybe in 50, late 50s or 60s. So for me, it was too early, and that's why maybe I kind of accepted it a little bit. That's
now it's Christmas. You're not even there.
I was
you're
not
lonely.
interested. I was shattered. I was I lost interest
in life,
yeah.
Sure. So how are you holding up in that time? Like, come on, your husband there and he's just not making things easy.
Yeah. I had to be to learn to accept that if it is, let it be, you know. And I was angry at God. I couldn't pray. I was not okay. I couldn't even pray. When I'm among believers, yes, I would try here and there. But when I'm alone, I was like, but God, like it was difficult to even pray. So I remember so I had planned that 2020 I'm gonna start drinking for the first time in my life. I'm going to start drinking. It's like there was that thing I'm going to misbehave.
A rebel, yeah.
I'm going to misbehave, you know. Unfortunately, 2020 there was COVID and the lockdowns and whatnot. So my new resolution for that year, it was not actualized, you know. So I remember at some point I was alone in the house and it came again. Like this thing, it came back. So as it comes back, I remembered, I actually felt a presence coming upon me. The easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
It was like an inspiration, a motivation, an unction of some sort, you know. And when that happened, I could at least say something to God. I was able to pray. So in that prayer, I was very specific, you know, to say, I'm quoting my husband's word to say, Lord, I hear my husband says that this thing is a spirit and I don't understand what that means. And on those bases, if this thing is a spirit, you know, I'm praying it out of my body, you know. And as I was just busy, you know, telling God about it and crying and, you know, wanting to understand why, like I was just pouring out my heart for the first time after the news, you know. And now it's another year, it's 2020, and I remember I felt at that point I was sitting down. So I felt a very harsh like wind coming out, you know. It's stronger than a burp, you know, like on my, you know, it went out. So it felt like a jelly when it was going out. So I thought, okay, Ashile itsuile, let me go and check. So I'm walking like to the bathroom, and when I get there, I'm expecting something green or something. I don't know why was I expecting to see something green. Nothing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, Mudim, you're gonna have to explain what has just happened, you know. And so I continued to pray while I was sitting there in the bathroom. So I remember this thing I didn't plan. I remember in prayer I said, Mudimu, how am I gonna know that you have healed me? And I need you to at least seal your healing with a baby girl, you know. And since you see us, we are Melanie, she's gonna have to be a bit of a yellow bone, you know, a bit brighter than the rest of us, you know. And as you know, I made so many promises, I don't want to lie. It's like, I will raise her to you. Like I said so many things that even now when I think back of what I said, it's like, you know, and I said to God, I'm not going to plan this baby. You will see to it how it happens, you know. But when I heard the news, I had stopped preventing because I felt like probably these are just the side effects of you know, the contraceptives, but we were using the plastic you know. So when it happened, actually the pregnancy, my husband tricked me. Yes, all of a sudden I am tired of this plastic, and I'm like, no, you can't just be hasty. So I'm trying to convince him, and so in a way it's like someone deceived someone in the process, you know. And that's how the conception of the third one came. And eventually she was a baby girl, and she's a bit brighter than the rest of us. And you know, it actually scares me when I've hoped for maybe when she turns 2 she will be a bit darker, you know. And each time she'll be on the sun, and when you bath her she goes back to her. And I'm thinking it always reminds me to say, this is a seal, that I was asking of to say, to seal, to assure me that you have done it, it will have to be a girl, and she will have to be a little bit brighter than the rest of us. And it's exactly like that. And I'm stuck with the promises that I've made before God, So that's...
So then when you find out, so now you're pregnant, okay, obviously now you fast forwarded, but when you actually go and get tested again.
The second time. Yeah. When I went back the second time, I was told, the lady gives me the result and says, we can't find anything. And I said to her, but last time when I was here, you guys said you saw something, and she says, she was getting irritated. Sorry, because she didn't want to take accountability for things that she's not dealing with. She said, I'm not the doctor. And I said, but you are reading the results, And she was like, listen, maybe you have abnormal cells. In that, out of those cells, something was red, abnormal. I don't know, but she said maybe, she was just trying to, I don't know, maybe dismiss me or something. She said, maybe you have abnormal cells, but the cancer was not found. It's not there. And I was angry to say, I'm going to sue you. I was angry because I almost committed suicide in that moment of void, in that moment of loneliness. I thought of like suicide every now and then. I thought of killing myself to say, what's the point, of going forward, knowing that one day I'll be seeing my hair, going down. And it was tough, Nosy. It was tough.
And then when did you start telling people about?
After when I had now the seal, that's when I started, sharing it. That's when, also when you said, oh, you have, and I was like, hey, what surprise, That's when I had the liberty to start sharing and talking about it, and that's how it happened.
That is beautiful.
It is.
That is so good.
It is, and when it comes to issues of healing, it's very interesting. It keeps me, it messes up my heart to say, when the Bible says that which is revealed belongs to us and our descendants, but every secret thing, the hidden things, they belong to God. And even healing is one of those things that are just embedded within the depth of the riches of His wisdom and knowledge. We cannot qualify and disqualify to say we know as far as He knows, and that's what really captures my heart every time, and it's just the same as when you lay hands and you see someone recover instantly right in front of you. Those two things, they really blow my mind altogether, because healing remains a mystery. That is known by God, belongs to God, and is His doing.
Also imagine hearing a burp. No, but it is mysterious. It's very liberating. Sure. But God is faithful.
It is. God is faithful.
That's touching. It's very touching. It's very real, very raw. So how's your relationship with the healing ministry? Are you praying for people that are sick? How have you been? How have you, because you've got your answered prayer that you look at every day. How's your conviction around that?
Well, I wish I can tell you that I challenged the Lord about it to say, is this a ministry or it was just a testimony? I didn't do that, I don't want to accept it as ministry. I think I'm scared, and well, I've been parking it to the side. The thought of it, the initiative to do that, I've been avoiding that, literally. And it's only maybe 3 weeks back when there was this child. Apparently the mother was saying, I think he's 8 years, he's a boy. The mother was saying that they discovered infection in his blood, and the doctors, they just say it's infection, but they don't know what triggered that, And he was in pain. The child was in pain. He kept on missing school. And somehow that evening I went to that house. I wanted something from the mother, just an information concerning something that I was doing. So when I get there, I find the child is like, lying down. He's very hyper and active. He's always playing on the streets. But on that day when I went to the mother's house, he was lying there. And I went there. I was filling forms and actually interviewing the mother. So after doing what I was doing, I wanted to leave, but there was this. It was bothering me to say, you're gonna leave this child like this, And I asked the mother to say, can I pray with the boy, And she was like, no, I prayed in the evening, I prayed and I'm thinking of fasting, and I'm saying, yeah, I think you should do that, but can I leave prayer? And she was like, no, you're welcome, you can do that. So I touched the boy, did my thing. Instantly, like, that was scary. The boy, after I prayed for him, he actually started crying, as he was crying. Then he stood up, he went out. So the mother's like, oh yeah, guy, because she's worried because he's apparently he's been indoors, I don't know for how many days. So he's like, oh yeah, guy. So he's rushing outside, And as he goes out, Lina, Summer, I'm like, okay, Mamia, I'm gonna have to go. So as we go outside, he's now because he was not able to even talk properly. The voice was swollen in the pain, And as I laid my hands as he went out, that to me confirmed that he was healed, And yeah, till today, because that thing kept on reoccurring depending what he ate as well. So it was the on and off thing. But ever since I prayed with the boy, he's been he's been okay, and it scares me. I don't know.
It should scare you because
it scares
you
me.
have almost like, remember how with Elijah, I mean, you're already a prophet. Elijah was raising people from the dead. It should scare you because that's where you should be. That's your dimension.
So yeah, I wouldn't say the Lord said. I wouldn't say I've challenged God. I wouldn't say I'm assuming to this as a ministry. But if that's the case, may I just leave it out, without to complicate it, by so many things. Yeah. So I believe the Lord will.
I'm so glad though that you
please.
still yielded. So even when you do get that unction to function, you function.
Thank you.
So we do thank the Lord for that, and thank you so much for your testimony. It's so real. It's so alive. It's so. I just pray that with people that may take things very lightly, as to say that some sicknesses are spirits. And sometimes we, in as much as it may sound very insensitive when someone is just like, well, why don't you cast that out? Sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah.
You need someone that's gonna say, cast it out, because this is invading us.
Yeah,
it's invading our life. So I thank the Lord that He healed you, that He showed you, that He left you with a promise. Just like with Noah, and He's like, here's a rainbow, here's your rainbow. And we thank the Lord, we bless the Lord. Sweet Ears family, I know you guys enjoyed that. Please do comment. We'd like to see what you guys have to say about this very powerful, touching testimony of God miraculously healing a whole cancer. That is insane. That is mind-blowing, and it is so good, because the enemy may try to hold us in actually expressing gratitude, or sometimes we only feel like it is a sickness when we start experiencing the hair loss. We think that's where the power is, and in actual fact, the fact that you first heard it, someone once picked it up in the spirit, even, for me, all of it is just so mind-blowing, because that person definitely was praying for you also over all these years. And now you're jumping in. Your husband definitely was jumping in that prayer, because no one wants to lose you.
That's so sweet.
We thank God for healing. I thank God that you are here to tell the story. I thank God that you never took your own life. Because it was a very dark season. I thank God that your children don't have to live without another parent. You know, I thank God for just in the nick of time, He came in just then to just give you that push to pray on that, you know. So yeah, Sweet Ears family, Mama Ribs. Thank you so much for that testimony. Thank you so much, family. We'll see you next time. Please stay tuned. We do have a new feature that we'd like for you to hear all about. Bye. Are you a business owner? Well, Sweet Ears has a new feature where you can sponsor an episode and you will get to have access to our viewers. We are trying to broaden people's businesses. We believe in believers having funds. We believe in community. We believe in expansion. We believe in growth. We believe in excellence.